Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is going to be a quick reading. I say quick, I read until I feel like I've said all the things that I want to say in the reading. I didn't realize how late it was. I thought I would fall asleep earlier because I woke up really early today to go to Costco with my parents because I figured I would get some food for myself and um, so I could make some things. I didn't get everything there because it's like you buy stuff in bulk, and I didn't want to get certain things like and get a whole container of like multiple of them. I was thinking about getting my toothpaste. I'm gonna start pulling out the cards. I was thinking about getting my toothpaste because they have Sensodyne there, but it was like a pack of four, and I kind of didn't want to get a pack of four. And it's nice. I am on health insurance again, so my parents put me on health insurance because they said in this state you have to be on health insurance. I'm I'm sure they know more than I do about it because when I move to, or when I stay in different states, I try to see the things that I have to do. So I feel like I will make an appointment to go to the dentist because I haven't been there in a long time. That's the adult version of taking an exam. I mean, of course, you have things that you have to manage and stay consistent with and keep up with. Um, well, at least for the medical field. So I know that I haven't used Sensodyne for a long time. I've been using it for the past year, but it has done a lot for my teeth. So I'm happy that it's been doing something, or a lot of things actually, and I do feel a difference. I also kind of want to get a new phone, but I don't really like changing my phone a lot just because I think the phone should last longer than how I feel like it should. In my mind, I don't know much about it, but I just feel that I don't have the latest iPhone, and I'm not like trying to get the latest one every time or even in general. Um, but just after a short period, I feel that the phone just goes. And I feel like for my most recent phones, not the phones that I've had in the past, like my teenage years, where I did so much damage to my phones. I feel like when you're younger, you just kind of think that it's fun for some reason. Maybe it's just me, but to see your phone just be like borderline destroyed, and somehow it still works. My phone was like that for years until like I started to try to take care of my phones a lot more. So I don't really want to change my phone because I feel like my phone feels like it is it's had its time. So I just don't know what I would want. I'm not necessarily picky, but I kind of want a phone that's not just gonna break down after a short period of time, and the phone is like extremely expensive. Maybe because I love um, vintage machinery that I feel like they just have such like they're so durable and they last a long time. It's different because, well, they're not phones, but one of my old phones, it was a Samsung, and it was one of those flip phones. And I don't know, there was, I was at, when I was little, there was like a family party, and we went somewhere, and kids are with the kids, and I was like, yeah, my phone's pretty much a brick. Like, it doesn't break. It literally was like super, like, it was a flip phone and it was red and it was like a hand me down from my brother. Like, I didn't care. I was just like, because growing up, I didn't have a phone for my whole childhood. So I am happy that I feel like I know how it feels to not have a phone and to be present when you're living your life. And I'm not saying people don't know that if they have had a phone all their life, but just for me, just to say. And this person was like, okay, your phone's adorable. And the kid like threw my phone up in the air on in the parking lot. And I was just like, what? I like don't even know you. And um it survived. Of course I knew it was gonna survive, but I was still like, okay. Weird impression. Cause the battery separated from the phone. Cause that was like I think the thickest part of it was the battery. And I just put it back together. It was scuffed up, which I was kind of like a little annoyed about, but not too much because my phones, again, tend to be more on the scuffed up side anyway. And it worked perfectly fine. So that's like what I kind of want. Not that moment, but for the phone to actually last. I had one, I don't know how, like, there was another Samsung that I had, and that was a smartphone, and I don't know how the longevity is for it, just because it was a hand me down too. Um, for my brother, so it was already used for a while, but I was fine with it. I just don't know like what would be a good phone to get. I am going off nostalgia too because I've never had a Motorola Razr before, but I'm kind of thinking maybe it would be kind of fun to get a Motorola because I heard they're out, but I don't know if like how it transitions. It's been a long time since I've heard it, at least in the US. So I don't know how they are with the smartphone stuff. I don't know if they were smart. I don't know, like maybe it's defined in a specific way, but I just remember when I was younger and I had a Kill Bill ringtone. Uh, Maybe I'll make a Circle of Friends reading for the next reading because this was going to be a Circle of Friends reading and then I forgot. But this is still going to be a reading, of course. I think there's big strides forward. There's still stuff to do because I didn't turn over all the cards, but there's the Two of Pentacles here. So that's the beginning of the Pentacle suit with the Minor Arcana element and its suit. And then there's also the Seven of Pentacles with the Ten of Pentacles. I pulled out the Ten of Pentacles after the Seven of Pentacles. So it's 1 through 10, or Ace through 10. There can also be like an energy of like keeping up with demands. For the obstacle, I'm looking at the Slavic legends. I'm just skipping around a little bit. There's the Six of Coins, Six of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords. So I kind of feel like there might be some type of approval or like process that needs to move forward before actually you might not see progress in the very beginning, but it feels like the seeds have been planted with the Seven of Pentacles. It's interesting because that is the only Pentacle card from the Slavic Legends Tarot, alongside a Sword card. And with the Ace of Swords, it kind of feels like asking a question, or even asking the right question, or asking it at the right time. And it reminds me of me being like a little awkward turtle sometimes with communicating, or especially if I am thinking I can ask for help because it's not a problem to ask for help, and I feel like it's good that it's to know that it's okay to get help sometimes. Um, but just in general, like sometimes it is a bit of a strange situation with my parents. If it may not seem like this in this video, but I have said some things here and there. But um, I feel like sometimes I just kind of thought about it that it stems a lot from me not wanting to ask anybody for anything and me feeling like there is the energy of the heron, which I've been considering as one of my animal totems. And one of the traits of the heron is like being the master of all trades type of person, where you kind of are someone like you're a person that does stuff themselves. And sometimes, like, well, a lot of times when I ask my parents about something, they get like really irritated, especially if I'm asking them for something. And I know like it could be irritating if you ask something from somebody, but it like is a consistent irritation, and then I'm just like, Well, if you're irritated, I'll just do it myself. I don't mind. And it kind of puts that roadblock there, and then it feels like there is more of a independence then, and then sometimes it maybe if you're driving or you're traveling somewhere and you need to inquire, or it might be good to ask for directions. There might be that, like, I don't need to do this. There might be a good chance that you might not need to do that, but if you want to save some time and maybe gas and energy, um, you might, and if it's not looking or um, asking like a physical person, just like looking up other ways to get to your destination or how to like get out of it. And this seems like more of a back in the day thing because like with our GPSs today on our phones, it will reroute you. And but there used to be like MapQuest or printouts of directions or using your maps, and you would have to know how to read it. And um, back in the day, so there can be like a fire like lit though, because you have the Queen of Wands from the Glory to Ukraine tarot. And it can add to the longevity too, because if the obstacle is that you can't ask for help, or you won't get help in some type of way, I feel like there might be a help coming along. Um, but it might surprise you. You have the Eight of Swords. That like situations, I feel it looks like it pans out more in your favor than you realize. The Eight of Swords, it looks more direct with it, um, not seeing something coming, or the sensory seems to be off because of other things that have happened. And it kind of reminds me of, well, how to overcome the obstacle is the moon card from the Slavic legends. There are also other major arcana cards. I pulled out the Hudson Tarot too. There's Nine of Swords from the Hudson Tarot, but there are more major arcana. So aside from the moon card, how to overcome the obstacle, there's the World card and the Hierophant. I'm sorry, the Magician, and the High Priestess. There might be an energy of finding your own way, because with the Ace of Swords, with the Six of Coins in the obstacle position, there might be like a different turn, or coming from a different place and headspace and everything, that it might not translate the way that maybe it's intended to. Because the Ace of Swords is, if it's not in an obstacle, it is more of like a clear understanding or clear communication. There, it could even be contractual, but more like verbal. There's the coins there too, so it could be turning into something that like would be something physical. But um, with the Queen of Wands, it does feel like it is finding your own way. And that could be part of the root source too, and actually understanding. your situation and maybe how you're feeling or what you have been through, there could be a deep contemplation here. Because the Eight of Swords, it just feels like there's something that is like you. I feel like I think it's understandable. I was watching one of my um one of the doctors that I tend to watch, and it's Dr. Ramani, and she does talk a lot about narcissistic abuse, and there's other topics that she talks about. But I haven't watched the videos in a while, but it came up on my YouTube again. And it was an interesting one about like betrayal trauma. And this isn't a medical channel, and you don't have to read too much into it. You could say, like, Adrian, you're bullshitting with me, like, just, you don't have to listen to it. But I thought, like, the discussion was enlightening, I guess, to say the least, because, again, you can have different types of betrayal, and then it makes you rethink and it kind of rewires your way of thinking. And it was like interesting those like examples. It kind of can be like betrayal after betrayal after betrayal. It could be like an explosion of an abundance of betrayals. It could be something like how long has this been happening, or the shock is just so vast that it's like, did I not see this coming? And then you start to like backtrack. And it was um, definitely like it's food for thought. Because it's like, oh, you're leaving because you've been cheating and it's been for X amount of time, and you're having a kid with them, and I have to leave like now. And it's just all of those things. And then it was like an interview. I don't know if you would call it an interview or maybe a discussion. And the one point was like saying that I wouldn't know how to trust after that. And you would question everything about like, what am I supposed to, or who am I supposed to trust, because this person, and these are parts of the video, like this person I considered like one of, like, in my close circle, and the close circle should be a circle where it like there's at least that type of trusting situation going on, like that foundation there, and it just like it's ripped out it that way. So I do feel that with the Moon card and the Ace of Swords, there could be things that it might seem like going out of your comfort zone or going back into how it used to be and getting back into your Queen of Wands mode. Like, you don't have to read genders or anything, but just that's like the card that's there. Because there's like a flamboyance there. And for some reason, this memory came up. It was, I didn't have a car at the time. And so I stayed after school. I think I was like hanging out because I went to a regional school, and I didn't see my friends a lot outside of school because the school wasn't so far away, but I didn't have a car. And then um, it's like the Tri-City area. So my area, well, my bus was one of the longest rides because our houses were on the outskirts of the city or town, and it was nearly like around 2 hours long. And there's another one where it was snowing one time and we didn't get back until like it was dark. I have said that in the past, like after school, and then it turned dark. So it was probably around like 5, 6 o'clock after getting out. And so, honestly, I mean, I didn't mind taking the bus for like hanging out, but I feel like after a while, like as you got older, you want to kind of have that luxury, and it is a luxury to just drive and go to school. So, I got a ride with one of, um, well, she went to school with, like, she went to elementary school with me, and then we went to high school together. So, this area, there was like the rival school, and you would either go to this school or that school. And so we both went to the school that we went to. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like the sports teams or that like because they're just close together, kind of. So it was like neighboring, and that's why it was like that. But um, we were in the car and we were talking. She wasn't necessarily in my friend group, but I'm not like a religious person, I would say. I would say I'm non-denominational, but um I'm happy that when I went to private school, it's like Catholic private school, that I didn't really get a lot of bullying. Sure, there were like times where maybe people like would might try to get at you, but for the most part, I had a pretty smooth time going to these schools. And I also was just like, I feel like in my mind, I kind of had, um, I don't know if you would call it thick skin, but it would just not even matter to me because I'm like, I know who I am. So we were talking, and it was just the basic things, I guess, of what like happened. And when we were in middle school, we also we went through preschool through eighth grade together. That was like the school. And she was like, remember that time when you did this? And honestly, I did. And I was like, oh my God. Because even back then, I was still, um, I guess I'll just say, I feel like I was funny. And some people might not find my humor funny. I feel like over the years it has gotten more dry and more dark. But I was still making jokes back then, and I learned that maybe I should kind of chill in some ways with it because some of the jokes were really unhinged. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And then it was just like, you know, we're not kids anymore. So I don't know where I was like kind of going with that, but it was just one of those thoughts that happened that I was thinking of. And I thought like we were cool together in elementary school, and we rarely saw each other or like talked, and it was a small high school too. But we were we were fine. Um, actually, we really liked each other. Not like that, but we um thought we were like cool. So just different friend groups, I guess. So that was just like the thought. Sorry if I dragged it on. Like we're not kids anymore. And I guess maybe that could go with the moon card, where there are certain things that, in your adult life, it can be a part of that survival and things that are important to do. But over the years, it builds character. The harsh things, the happy things, the sad things, the things that take a long time to do. Um, like there's a lot of grit to it, and grit being like the perseverance to get through something that can be tedious or even difficult. But those moments are more of the rewarding things. I keep thinking like I was pretty funny growing up. uh, and even if it wasn't one of my favorite memories of like, damn, Adrian, you kind of went really far with that. But I kind of was happy that I'm like, well, I'm in her memory bank of things that like she remembers for a long time, and that it was funny to her. So I'm like, well, it was funny to someone. So the past is the Ace of Wands, which is kind of interesting because I feel that maybe there could be energy that has almost tampered with your soul, or that sounds weird, but like that it almost feels like there was like a dimming of spirit with that, with the Ace of Wands being in the past. But there's like a resurgence or like Phoenix energy coming from the Queen of Wands, and Wands being fire for both of these decks. There might be like a relearning or reprocessing, reprogramming, doing things, and maybe if you do it again, it could help with the healing process. There, like with the moon card, there just seems like there's a lot to take in, and there's a lot to process, and like it's okay if you're not healed from it. But if we're thinking like how we're going to get to point A to point B to point like K or something, like we gotta do certain things, and um, I really feel that the dandelion energy from the Queen of Wands is kind of taking over, and I love dandelions. They're one of my favorite plants. It's weird because I feel like a lot of like these yellow plants are like my favorite plants. So I love daffodils, sunflowers, dandelions. Um, and it literally is like a dominant plant. It is a weed, but you get so much from weeds, nutrition wise, and um, also seeing the meaning behind them. And I've mentioned dandelions before in the past. Like they can grow in places where it seems like a lot of plants can't grow there. You see them growing in the cracks of sidewalks, in barren areas where there's barely any other things. I mean, dandelions really do suck out a lot from the soil, so a lot of plants don't grow near them. But that's kind of like the starlight in them. They're like the superstars. Even if we don't want to believe it or see it, like there's just something about the dandelion that just makes sense and stands out. And I remember like in high school, that's where I kind of like realized that some of my jokes were like kind of taking it far because I wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but I feel like it could have been interpreted, and also like the type of environment that I was in. It was kind of like a higher class type of environment, and I just did not give a fuck. I was just like, I'm gonna have fun here, and I um just was doing my thing, and then I was thinking some people don't find the jokes. Well, no, actually, I feel like a lot of people found the jokes funny, but at the same time, some people are just like, this person is like wild. And I do feel like in a way, I don't like do anything super out there in terms of like destroying things, I guess, but um, I don't know what you would consider wild. Not like partier wild, but just like that fire from the Ace of Wands, and it really tries to bring it back. I feel like with this cycle, especially when I'm seeing a lot of things that I was super into growing up, and I guess I didn't really get out of it because I'm still really into it, and I'm like really leaning in hard to liking those things. It kind of is bringing back other things that I'm doing again. Like it's been a long time since I've been like in my family home or one of my family homes, and just reliving things. And like I know like getting the on my other channel, I got Converse shoes and the boots that I've wanted since I was little. And that has been on my bucket list. And just to cross it out, like little Adrian would be so like enthused. She would be like just the happiest little fucker that you could ever imagine because that was one of the things. And um I don't know if it can be seen like maybe as like an artistic person where I'm not trying to like just be like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but like with people that love to express themselves through those types of things, um when there's like something telling you not to do that. And I felt like there was a lot of that growing up because when you go to these private schools and you have these rules, you always have rules, but like the uniforms and what you can't wear aside from that and what you can't do, and even the religious aspect of it too, which I wasn't really that vocal about. But honestly, I kind of, some people, I'm not saying for everyone, but I did notice that it was kind of more of like a status than it was like taking it in that direction of like I'm going to a religious school. So with those constraints, and I just feel that this is like the time to be jovial about it, and there's like a lot of unapologetic energy. But for the future, it's the Page of Swords, and it seems serious, and it seems like some of the sky is a little gloomy, but there's something that I feel that the ace that sorry, well, I said ace, so it could link to the Ace of Wands. At this point, that you're like not a bird in a cage anymore. There's like a freeing aspect of it. And if you don't feel free, and in ways we're still constrained, then there could be like different acts of freedom that you could possibly do that is hopefully like not harmful. Again, I don't know the environment, how the environment is for you. I know for like what's happening in America right now, there's a lot of like the saying now is no kings. Like there are no kings here. And so that is our expression on how we feel about certain things happening right now. And as for the the war in Ukraine, um, I'm not sure the levels of what you can and can't do, but hopefully there are certain things that can make you feel like there is that sense of freedom. So the other cards, as I said, were the major or from the Hutzel Tarot with the High Priestess, the Magician, and the World, and then Minor Arcana, Nine of Swords. I do feel like it is a moving energy, and it's deep because the swords, even though they're more of like psychological things, it makes a big impact. So even with the imagery of the Knight of Swords, it is like surrounding you, and it feels like there are things that maybe are right in your face now. So with the High Priestess, Magician, and World. So Magician and the High Priestess, those are beginning of those cards are the beginning of the major arcana with 1 and 2, and then the World being 21. So it does jump a little bit, or a lot actually, but I mean it's the cycle, it's the fool's journey. And I do feel like it kind of skips, like it does feel like a blast from the past, if you will. And it kind of relives itself. A lot of times maybe we don't want to relive those things, but there's this sense of acceptance. Archangel, Jeremiel, and all is well. Everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to, with hidden blessings you will soon understand. With sensitivity, you are extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. Honor yourself and your feelings. Soldat. Maybe practicing a Ukrainian. I hope that was right. Soldat. Vyskovy aerodrome. And Vyskova. Um, Baza. Those are just words that I learned. And then the power colors are here too. So you have Comfort, Archangel Azrael. I'm with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. And Outdoors, Archangel Jovial. Go outside, get some fresh air, and connect with nature to relieve stress and gain new creative ideas. And like the water there, it just feels like there's something that feels a little refreshing this time around. And at this time, like if you can try to not get as like having like a sensory overload. I know there is definitely a lot going on there. But if the deep breaths definitely help. And I just feel like with the world card and then having the magician and the high priestess in the beginning, it kind of just gives perspective. Like the world card, it kind of looks like how far you've gone. And that's like kind of like an ancestral type of symbol that is on there too. So there's like a free flowing of energy. At least that's part of the symbolism that I read about with them. There could just be layers and layers and layers of things. There might be like more interpretation. There's this one dream that because sometimes I feel like I have like feral dreams. I'm not sure what else you would call it, but there was this one dream where I was like in the woods, and there were like I was greeted by a pack of wolves, and then there were kind of next to like adjacent, which is unusual, were like a bunch of pigs, and like one of the wolves came up to me, and it kind of felt like I was being more maternal to them. And I'm not saying to not think too much into it, but um, like for certain new experiences that, because like the past might leave marks on you that there could be like the child wonder that could still come out of it, or the purity, or thinking that like there still is good in the world after everything. There's something else. Maybe I'll think about it. No, I don't remember. I might remember the next reading. Um, I would like to do another Circle of Friends reading. I don't usually do like a specific. It's specific and yet it's not specific. I try to let the messages really come through in that way. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in another video.